Hey guys, it's Amy Pond. I'm going to be talking to you all about the controversial nature around Neil Gaiman's Coraline. First off, there is a movie. It's on Netflix, and it was made by a guy named Henry Selick. He's the guy who did Nightmare Before Christmas, James and the Giant Peach. So if you've seen any of those movies, you'll probably know where this is going. I actually have the movie cover version of Coraline because it's the version I stumbled upon on one of my many trips to used bookstores, Desert Industries, and the like, because that's what I like to do in my spare time. So here's what Coraline is all about. The Jones family, Coraline, her mother, and her father, have recently moved into a very old house during a rainy summer. The very old house is also very large and has been divided into multiple apartments. They share the house with a crazy old man with a big mustache who is training a mouse circus in the attic apartment, two former actresses, Mrs. Spink and Forcible, and their Highland Terriers are in the basement apartment, and there is no one in the other ground level apartment on the opposite side of the Joneses. There's also a black cat who seems to be running around but belongs to no one, but is very important throughout the book. Inside her apartment, Coraline finds a locked door at the far end of the drawing room. Her mother unlocks it for her, and it reveals that the door opens to a brick wall. On the other side, her mom explains, is the other empty apartment, probably. In the days that follow, Coraline becomes bored, and with not much to do, she complains to her parents, but they brush her off, telling her to amuse herself so they can concentrate on their work. One day, when Coraline's parents are out, Coraline takes the house keys and opens up the locked door again. This time, instead of a brick wall, she finds a dark hallway. She walks down the hallway and realizes she's in a flat that looks strikingly similar to her own, except for minor details that are different. Coraline hears a voice that sounds like her mother's, call her name, and she follows the voice to the kitchen. She finds a woman who looks a bit like her mother, but with white skin and long, sharp fingernails, and she has black buttons for eyes. When Coraline asks the woman who she sees, she says she's Coraline's other mother. Coraline's other father, who also has black buttons for eyes, joins the two and they have a delicious lunch. Coraline's other parents tell her that they have been waiting for her for a long time. After lunch, Coraline goes to inspect her other bedroom, where she finds a number of unusual toys and 50 rats under her bed. The rats belong to the other strange man who lives in the upstairs apartment, who soon collects them, and he invites Coraline upstairs, but she refuses. Instead, she wanders outside and finds the house and garden look almost the same as they do outside her own house. Although Mrs. Spink and Forcible's apartment is surrounded by flashing lights instead of just a normal apartment door. Next, Coraline sees a black cat just like the one she saw at her own house, although this cat can talk. The cat says that he's not the other cat, but unlike people, cats keep ourselves together. There's no other cat. After the cat disappears, Coraline wanders into Mrs. Spink and Forcible's flat, which has been turned into a theater where the two women transform into their younger selves and perform for an audience of terriers. When Coraline returns to her other flat, her other parents tell her she can stay forever if she agrees to have buttons sewn into her eyes. Coraline, horrified, obviously, runs back through the hallway to her own flat, and once she arrives, the brick wall reappears behind her. However, that night, Coraline's parents do not return home, and they do not come back the next day either. Finally, the black cat appears inside the flat and leads Coraline to a mirror where she finds out that her parents seemed trapped on the other side, and her mother breathes on the glass and writes, "Help us," backwards in the fog. Coraline is sure that her other mother has kidnapped her real parents. Coraline goes back through the locked door, down the dark hallway to the other flat. Back in the other mother's world, the other mother soon learns that Coraline is not prepared to love her, and she throws Coraline into the hallway mirror, into what's like a dark closet with no way out, where she meets 3 ghost children who have also been held captive. One tells Coraline, as she falls asleep, to look through the stone given to her earlier by Mrs. Spink and Forcible. The next day, Coraline uses the stone in a game of challenge with the other mother. Everyone will be released if Coraline can find the lost children's souls and her real parents. But Coraline knows that the other mother is going to try and trick her into staying, so instead Coraline tricks the other mother into unlocking the door to the real world, and Coraline tosses the cat onto the other mother, where it distracts her enough that Coraline can then grab the snow globe where she realizes her real parents are, and with the souls of the 3 children, her parents, and the cat following her now, she escapes into the hallway, where she finds out there's something else crawling around, and it turns out to be the other mother's right hand. Kinda creepy, isn't it? The other mother's hand makes its way back into the real world with Coraline. Coraline manages to get rid of the hand by tricking it into falling into the old well that's in the back of the garden in the real world, and the black key goes with it. With the other mother now gone and stuck in the other world, Coraline continues her life as a normal girl. The end. Yay. So the reason that this book fits the criteria of controversial literature is because several parents have challenged it. I was unable to find the actual number, but a couple of Neil Gaiman's books have been challenged/banned because of their dark imagery and themes. And this one was challenged because of its scary imagery and themes. And I've showed you the illustrations that Dave McKean did for the book, and in my opinion, they're super freaky. So, one of Gaiman's more challenged books is actually Neverwhere, and that's because of the dark themes and imagery, which is probably similar to Coraline, but I don't know. I've never read that one. If you've seen the movie, in my opinion, the book is actually worse as far as creepy imagery goes, but I don't know. My sister and I actually did love creepy stories when we were little, so we probably wouldn't have minded Coraline, but still the illustrations are quite horrifying, so. But I don't know. I guess we'll talk more about it this week as we explore other controversial literature. Hope you guys enjoyed my presentation, so see you later.